Eventually, man. Like we talk to you all the time. Like, how's practice going so far this week? What do you think of this Purdue team?
Practice has been good. Purdue has a really strong defense. I think they're top 10 in the nation, so there's a lot of guys on that defense that are very good, very impressive. So it's been a good week of practice. We've been really honed in on film and watching them and learning their techniques and things like that.
Where do you feel like you guys are as an offensive line right now? I know it's been a little up and down. Like, where do you feel like you guys are right now, Nick?
I think we're still improving. I think there's still a lot of room for us to grow. Although we're a few games into the season, we're kind of into the depth of it now. I still think that there's still a lot of room for us to grow, not only in terms of playing, but also just how we come together and us being able to understand each other.
Coach Day mentioned after the game you had missed some practice time last week. Are you healthy right now?
Yeah, I'm all good now.
What were you dealing with last week?
I had a loss in the family, so I had to go and be home back in Tampa, and I was there for a few days, and then I came back, and then I also left again this week. So
sorry to hear that.
I actually appreciate you.
For you guys, just as an offensive line, I mean, what do you think are maybe the biggest things that you guys need to do to really get this run game rolling again?
Just making sure we communicate more, understanding our assignments and things like that, and just executing. That's always been a thing that our offense has always talked about every single week, is that we need to execute and create energy on and off the field. So as long as we execute, that's how we create our energy.
Nick, is an issue of, as you go through a season, obviously teams study you study them. Is it a situation where the game gets kind of complicated at times, and it can be difficult to move people and communicate? Is that a factor in trying to get the run game unclogged, if you will, just trying to deal with the changes?
I mean, we're in the Big Ten conference, and there's some of the best coaches here on our staff and also other staffs as well. They're always scheming, they're always playing things out. That's a big reason why a lot of us wanted to come here, because we knew that there was going to be challenges every single week. It's one of the toughest conferences in the nation. And with that also comes challenges of people also scouting us and learning our tendencies. So all we need to do is be able to adjust on the fly in game and be able to figure them out.
Can you go through the difficulty of that, especially like the road environment you were in last week, the communication component of that? I know you practice it, but how difficult can that be in the heat of the battle?
I mean, so in terms of like road environments, I mean, it's probably like Nebraska was one of the loudest stadiums that we have played in. I mean, we played in Nebraska 2 years ago, and it was pretty loud. It was a night game, but even though it was an afternoon game, people thought it was probably be a little bit lighter. No, it was still loud. So the best ways that we prepare for that is that we try to like blast music at practice to try to simulate that crowd environment of us being on offense, or if we have a big game here at Ohio State, like when we played Penn State, we blasted a noise when our one defense was on the field. So we try to simulate that type of environment as well, and just being able to communicate.
What is George Karlaftis? What is George Karlaftis do?
A lot. I mean, he's having probably like an All-American season. He's probably one of the better DNs in the Big Ten, if not the country. He's just very strong, very athletic, really good pass rusher, and he presses the run well when it comes to tackles and tight ends and things like that. Just all around a very solid player, great player.
Is this one of those times in the season where you can finally lean on the experience of going against Zach and Tyreek and those guys in practice and training camp, now that you can kind of fall back on what you did against those guys to take it to the field against the guy like Karlaftis?
I mean, I lean on them every single week, I mean, every single week when we go and play in the Big Ten, I mean, there's a great challenge every single week, although some guys maybe not have the same notoriety. The other guys, like, don't get it twisted. Every single week we're always going up against some of the best competition, and this is another one of those opportunities. Just going up against Zach and Tyreek and all the other DNs that we have here, it's always great. It's always great competition and great reps for me to get into, and improve.
So for the next 3 weeks, you got Karlaftis, a couple guys from Michigan State, and then a couple guys from Michigan. Are you looking forward to this? It's kind of a measuring stick for where you are and where the offensive line is as a whole to go against guys that are really talented like that?
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of just in general, I mean, we always are looking forward to every single week that we play, because it's another challenge, another opportunity for us to not only get better as a team and as an offensive line unit, but to prove ourselves and improve how good we can be and how well we can improve week in and week out. But then also with some of the challenges, there's always going to be great players on every single team, wherever they are. So it's always a great measuring stick for the offensive line, for us as a whole, to play up against great players and great competition, and just see ourselves and try to learn from those past experiences, watch the film, and improve every single week.
Nick, you guys went through a stretch where you were scoring 50 points every week. You were just blowing people away. The offensive line was dominating. It's been a little bit tougher stretch right now. How would you assess how well the line is playing right now and what needs to get better?
I think we're still playing well. I think that there's just a few things in terms of communication that we can improve on. I think there's a lot of executing that we can also improve on as well, making sure we do our assignments correctly and knowing exactly where to go and who to go to and IDing things correctly. So there's a lot of things that we can still improve on, and I think that week in and week out, like the Big Ten, like I said, one of the toughest conferences in the nation. It's not like every single week you're going to just roll through people. You know, there's always going to be great competition. There's always going to be great coaches that scheme up against you. All we can do is just work through those challenges and get better every single week.
There was a play at the end of the game when you were probably the most famous play of the Nebraska game, the one where CJ got stripped. Kevin Wilson said yesterday if the protection had been there, it probably would have been a touchdown because Chris Olave was open. Walk us through that play. What happened on that play?
There was just a miscommunication on the offensive line. We didn't execute our slide on that side. So there's a miscommunication, and that was just something that we talked about in the film, and that's something those are mental errors. Those are things that we can't have, and those are miscues that we just need to improve on and make sure that we fix.
Nick, I think you guys used 4 different alignments of offensive linemen over the course of that game, whether it's because DeJuan had to be out, whether it's because they were moving Matt in. So how important is cohesion to offensive line performance, and is that part of the factor these last 2 weeks that you guys have not really had 5 that you're just going with and kind of building together as a unit?
I mean, cohesion is big, but I think I talked about this at the beginning of the season and throughout the season that we have a great 2 groups of guys, almost even 3 groups of guys that we're comfortable rolling out there, you know? We all have been doing different positions and working on different positions throughout camp and throughout the season, just in case something were to go down. And we have a lot of guys that are talented enough to play at different positions and play when their number is called and to be at their very best, whenever that is.
Hey, Nick, this is about the time of year that I'm sure the coaching staff would like to be paring back at practice, getting you guys fresh. But you've got such a young team working on, as Nathan put it, cohesion. Have you been able to do that?
A little bit here and there. I mean, we always emphasize Tuesdays as a very major practice day, and then Wednesdays as well. But we always try to emphasize that every single rep matters, no matter whether it's a Tuesday rep, a Wednesday rep, or if it's Thursday when we're in Spiders, whatever day it is. We always try to emphasize every single rep matters, and whatever the situation is, whatever type of gear we're in, we always try to make sure that we emphasize our technique, make sure we emphasize our steps and hand placement and things like that.